Bartender ako sa isip, sa salita at gawa. Karanasan ko ay katumbas ng pagsubok at tuwa. Hindi pagpapalit ang aking mga napala. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang laban kahit minsan nadadapa. Welcome to Toma Sessions Live with me, Richie, your host. So you probably are shocked that we're back in Instagram Live. Well, we did have experienced a few technical glitches, but nevertheless, it's fun to be back in Instagram. So today is a very special day because we're shifting, well, not really shifting, but we are going to be talking about of course, a brand of gin. Well, apart from that, of course, we shall be also interviewing one of the legends in the bar industry, and he'll be joining us soon. His name is Mr. Jared Brown. For those who don't know him, that's okay. So this is the perfect time to know the man behind the gin, as they say. So he should be with us any moment now. Shout out to Janzel. Yeah, so I hope everybody's day went smoothly. No, mine did. I went to, where did I go? I went to Ortigas today, and there's a certain mall. It's called the Podium, and it was like a library. It was like a library because pretty much there's you can count the people inside the mall with maybe 2 hands or something like that. But yeah, it's cool actually. I like going to malls with no people. First of all, I would think it's safer if that were the case. Okay, so let me see if I can invite Jared with us right now. Actually, you're in for a treat. Well, some reminders, by the way. Of course, you all know after an hour, Instagram Live automatically cuts and this goes to IGTV. So we'll reset it again in case our conversation gets cut. Okay. Now, if you have questions already, please don't hesitate to ask, so that we'll have a very good conversation. So for those who missed the other episodes, so last week we did have Dean Sir Niels. That was a pretty interesting conversation we had with him. He was, well, for those who didn't know, he is the one who hold on. Jared is in Facebook. Wait, let me. It's in Facebook now. Hold on. Let me just get him over to Instagram. Chino. Shout out to Chino. Chino, it's my boy from Marikina. Three, two, one. There you go. All right, welcome. Hey, finally. Yeah, man. Nice. Okay, wow, those are some lovely bottles at the back. Okay, so without further ado, so our guest right now, as I've said, just to cut the long story short, although we will hear a few stories from him in a few also. So if you've ever tasted Sipsmith Gin, we are lucky and blessed to have the man who made this possible. And we'll know more about our guest, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jared Brown. Welcome, Jared. Welcome. Thank you very much.
Wonderful to be here with you today.
Thank you, Jared. Well, it's an honor for me. It's my first time, literally, to be talking with you. I've seen you in social media. I've seen you in gatherings. I've tasted your gin. Not as much because I'm not really sure who's the distributor here. But we could discuss that later on. So maybe for starters, Jared, who is Jared Brown? Can you tell us something about your background? Like, did you study hospitality? What led you to distilling? Go ahead.
Sure. Well, I'm the master distiller of Sipsmith Gin in London. I'm also a historian of drink. I'm one of the co-founders of Museum of the American Cocktail. I am former director of Exposition Universelle des Vins et Spiritueux, which is a museum of wine and spirits on an island in the south of France. My wife and I are authors of, forgive me, I lost count. I think it's maybe 30 books. Recent books include The Soul of Brazil, Spirit of the Cane, which is our fourth book on the history of Cuban rum and Cuban cocktails. We wrote the world's best-selling book on the martini called Shaken Not Stirred.
Wow, nice.
To answer one of your questions, yes, I did study hospitality. I've got a degree from New York University in food and hotel management.
Oh, nice.
I'm currently taking a master's degree in creative nonfiction writing because I believe education never ends. We should always be students. There's always more to learn in this world. So I like to say the last diploma I will receive, the big diploma, will be a tombstone. Because I'll be a student right up to that moment. But
exactly.
I realized I wanted to explore distillation when, after 3 years of informal wine education, I started to get bored with wine, to be honest. I love wine, but it will always just be a passion, not a profession. So, age 10, I did my first distillations.
Whoa, nice. Wow, amazing.
It wasn't very good.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so does that mean you come from a family of distillers also?
No, my mother was very confused and surprised, but...
Okay, yeah, I would be surprised. You're distilling at 10 years old. So, how did that happen? Who did you meet?
Actually, one of my classmates in school told me that he had worked out a way to concentrate the alcohol in cider. Cider being the hard fermented apple beverage that we drink.
Yes. I do fancy a cider once in a while. Well, to mention a brand, as Strongbow is top of mind. Yep.
Well, cider when I was 8 years old.
Okay. Well, okay. So technically, are you a Brit? Technically,
I am now, but I was born in the United States, and I became
I
a Brit
see.
2011, I believe it was.
Okay, okay. Because you had a naughty classmate distilling at age 10. You know.
Yeah. And so I tried it. It was okay, but not great. So by age 11, I started making liqueurs instead. So I would just raid the liquor cabinet. I'd find a good base spirit. I remember the first thing I made was 5 liters of coffee liqueur. And then I made raspberry liqueur, orange liqueur. Now this sort of thing I still do. Let's see, over here, just a few jars from last year. There's a damson liqueur, and here's a creme de cassis from our garden.
Oh, nice, nice. In fact, I saw. Well, based on our on your picture, right? So basically, that's your how do you call this? That's your home. That's that where we are now. So what are your plants? What are your plants there in your backyard?
Oh, I have about 200 different species of plants.
Oh my goodness.
In gin, we use angelica root, we use licorice, we use Russian coriander, we use orris root. These I also grow in my garden because to understand the ingredients, I must know them from birth to harvest.
Wow.
I cannot grow the proper juniper here. The juniper for gin must come from the north part of the Mediterranean for the flavor, even though the Juniperus communis, which produces the juniper berry, grows from the Arctic to the tropic, all the way around the northern hemisphere. Only the Mediterranean juniper has the right flavor. So instead, I've gone there, and up in the mountains, I've worked the juniper harvests to understand the juniper.
Okay, so you're telling me just like let's say an agave, right? So there's different species of a juniper also.
Oh, there are many different species, but all gin is made with one species. The Juniperus communis.
I see. Okay, now that's interesting because I do have juniper here, but scientifically I don't know what type of juniper I have. Because normally common Joe would just buy, can I have some juniper berries? Do you have juniper berries? And they'll give you juniper berries. But I didn't know that there's a specific type of juniper.
If you're buying juniper in the shop, if you buy juniper in the shop, it is definitely the Juniperus communis. You won't find a different one in any shop in the world because this is the one that has the right flavor. And of course, those are not berries. They are a pine cone that has formed itself to look like a berry, so the birds would eat it and then fly and drop the seed. And this is why it spreads so far.
Okay, but I'm curious now. Were you ever a bartender? Did you ever bartend once in your life?
Not just once. 1990, I was a student, and I was working as a waiter at the Rainbow Room, where Dale DeGroff was working as bartender. Yeah, the first words he ever said to me was, "Hey, you want to see how to flame a twist?" And he taught me how to flame a twist. And within a few weeks, I had a bartending job on the Upper East Side of New York.
Nice.
And I worked through many of those until my wife and I had a nightclub in New York. We had a 750 capacity nightclub. And at that time, we were head bartenders for the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington. making drinks for the leaders of every country in the world.
Wow,
We
that's
had
amazing.
600 people before dinner, 1,000 after dinner. We had a team of 25 bartenders, and we had to create all original drinks for these events.
Wow, and that was, you're talking about the 90s or the early 2000s?
2006 and 7, we were
Oh,
in
okay.
Washington doing that. Now my wife has a bar in Bristol and another bar in Bath in England. Previously, for 3 years, we had a private bar on the island in the south of France that we opened when we were teaching all of the world's top bartenders at the time. They all came for a 3-day course, so we had people like Dale DeGroff, Peter Dorelli, Salvatore Calabrese.
The gang, huh? Basically the gang.
Frosty.
Yeah.
All of these people were our students in
Wow.
learning the history of drink.
Wow. So based on what you're telling, you told us, so your first job, bartending job, was in the Rainbow Room.
No, I was a waiter there, but I was bartending in another place because as a student, I needed to have 2 jobs.
Yeah. That's how you guys roll in the States. Apparently, it's a cultural thing, and it's quite it's quite impressive also and amazing how you guys hustle there. I mean, like here, I don't know for everyone, but it's I find it kind of tough to juggle studies and work during my younger years. So I had to really choose one. Because I will end up sleeping in class if I did work a shift, in the bar business at the time. But okay, so from the U.S., what made you move to England?
My wife wanted to move back home. The governor of New York had changed a law about nightclubs that meant that we lost our nightclub. We had been commuting, living in New York, but also working in distilleries in Norway and Sweden for 6 years. And we decided to just move to England, and it would be closer to Norway and Sweden. But then we stopped our work over there, and we began working in the south of France for 3 years.
Okay, so technically, if you say, okay, pardon my ignorance a little bit, no? So Sipsmith, you're the master distiller, correct?
Yes.
So, but does that mean also that is you? So Sipsmith is Jared Brown, so no other partners, it's a husband and wife thing.
Oh no, Sipsmith is Jared Brown, Fairfax Hall, and Sam Goldsworthy. It's 3 founders of Sipsmith.
Okay.
And
okay.
They were working in the States, though they're English, and they came back to England. They quit their jobs. They sold their apartments so they would have enough money to start a small distillery. I had been trying to do the same, to create a gin in London, but I am not a businessman, and they are not distillers. So when we met, it was
there you go. Perfect.
The only trouble was it was not legal to start a small distillery in Britain. There were only 12 distilleries making gin in all of Britain at this time. And the last one to open in London was Beefeater in 1820. The reason for this was the Gin Act, or the Excise Act of 1825, made it impossible to get a license for a still under 1,800 liters or 400 gallons. Our first still was only 300 liters, so tiny. But my business partners overturned that Excise Act of 1825.
Brilliant.
I actually have it right here,
Yeah, oh, wow.
and I don't.
Nice, it's still with you. Well, it's inverted, but yeah, no, I mean, it's, oh, that's brilliant. You really are, well, of course, it's meant keeping. But how did that, so you guys are all childhood friends, or you just met, you know?
Those two are childhood friends from Cornwall. I met them at a Negroni party at the Beefeater Distillery. And
Wow.
my wife and I had just finished helping Desmond Payne, their master distiller. We were part of the tasting panel creating the Beefeater 24, which was
Okay.
a great honor to work with Desmond on that.
Yeah.
When Sam and Fairfax told me what they wanted to do, I said there is a law against it. When they overturned this act, it opened the doors, and because of that legal work, there are now 500 distilleries making 1,000 brands of gin in Britain,
Yeah, it
which is
exploded.
something we're very proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, in fact, now it's, me as an educator also, well, here, it's kind of overwhelming to see so much brands now coming in, especially in the Philippines, because way back in the 90s, as I recall, you can only count with your both hands the number of brands here, you know. But now it's a lot. You turn this way, you see a brand that you don't know, but you need to know it, and then there. So, but of course we have our own gin, technically.
San Miguel.
Wow, see, you know it. And but we do have a craft gin now also. We have two. I don't know if you've heard of the Crows and Crows Gin and the Archipelago. So those are Philippine brands when it comes to gin. But let me ask you something. Why is it that, talking about gin again, why is it that gin has been, there is like a quote that gin is a poor man's drink. Is that, do you know, as a historian, where did that come from? Or,
I do.
Yeah.
It was the gin craze, which was from the early 1700s up until into the 1800s, were two gin crazes in Britain. The first, early 1700s up to about the 1750s. And if you were too poor to afford anything else, you could drink gin because the king had lowered the taxes on gin to the point where gin cost less than beer. So
okay.
this is why gin was the poor person's drink. And if you could find no other work, then you would become an illegal gin seller. And at one time, in parts of London, you could buy gin behind 1 out of 4 doorways. You could buy gin, and they were making it there, not with stills, but they were buying cheap, pure alcohol, and then they were compounding the juniper flavor or pine flavor and citrus flavor into that liquid. So everyone in London was making this very cheap approximation of gin. It was not good gin by any means.
Okay.
This went away, but then it exploded again in the 1800s. But by the mid-1800s, there were advances in distillation. And this is when the London dry style was born. And they finally had pure neutral alcohol, and they could redistill it with the botanicals. And this is when true gin came about.
I see. So, because before you said that history, because here literally, of course we do have farmers, right? So in some provinces, where I've been to, literally gin is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, and then of course asking them, of course I'm a little bit worried, you're drinking gin in the afternoon and then they smell like gin, no? I said, why do you drink? Well, because it calms the nerves. It calms the nerves, you know, and it helps them sleep earlier than usual because tomorrow is another day, basically. So that's why it has become like a habit for some farmers to drink gin here. No, so that's why Ginebra is also big here once upon a time. But now, actually, it's an even playing field. I always believe when it comes to the beverage industry, it's all about education, like what you said, learning, and not just with us, but also with the market itself. Because you know, how can they appreciate our product if we do not you know, make them aware that it exists and what's it all about?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Okay. Following up with that, what to you as a distiller is the main difference between a London gin and a Dutch gin?
Oh, there is a huge difference. The difference between London gin and Dutch or Holland's gin, also known as Genever. Genever is a junipered whiskey. You make a whiskey, you don't distill the base spirit to 96%. But you distill it only to about 68%. So when you taste it fresh off the still, it tastes like new make whiskey. Then it goes into barrel. There are two types of Genever. There is the young Genever and there's the old Genever.
Yes.
Which is not referring to the age statement, but is referring to whether it's just pure malt spirit base or if it has part neutral alcohol added to it. So the old is pure malt spirit and a very heavy flavor.
I see.
Yeah,
okay.
So very different from the light floral style of the London dry gins. The London dry gins are much better for mixing than the Genever.
Yeah,
Genever is very heavy to mix with.
Yeah. In fact, the malty, there's a very evident maltiness to the Genever. I've tasted one famous brand of Genever, a Dutch gin. So I have one at stock. So I was kind of wondering. I wonder if this is the main difference. And now you tell me. So yeah. Okay. Now that because the reason why I ask is for the longest time. Of course, I've been reading also, but growing up, literally, I thought if it's a London dry gin, it has to be made in London. And if it's a Dutch dry gin, of course, the book says that it's not like that. It's the style of production. But then again, isn't it that originally gin came from the Dutch? Since Francisco Silvus was the inventor or the person that discovered the gin, right?
This is what we thought, and this is what historians said for many years.
Okay.
My wife is going to be releasing a new study on this soon.
Oh wow!
Because she's just finished her second master's in British history at Oxford, and now she's taking a doctorate at Bristol, all in drink history, and she has proven that there was distillation of spirit and juniper in England before Holland. And we have discovered, even before the 30 Years' War and before King William of Orange came to England, that English distillers were distilling juniper with Spanish orange and lemon peel and spices. It's practically my formula, but from the 1630s. So this changes everything that you and I knew about the...
Yeah, I mean, that's controversial. That's gonna be controversial.
Oh, yes. But
I mean, it changes
all the evidence.
No, but that's brilliant. By the way, what's the name of Mrs. Brown? First name.
Oh, her name is Anastasia Miller.
Anastasia. Oh, wow. Beautiful name. All right. Okay, so in terms of books, so because you mentioned that you've written probably 31 books, more or less. How often, or to write one book, how long does it take you?
It can take me years, or it can take me months. It depends on the subject, it depends on the book, but I can tell you the research has taken a lifetime. A lifetime of living and learning and drinking good drinks. But our books on Cuba, I think those took about a year each to write our 4 history books on Cuban rum and Cuban cocktails. Our book on the complete history of drink, from the earliest archaeological evidence of intentional fermentation back around 7000 BC up to the 20th century. That one took us 2 years to write.
Okay, so does that mean in order for you to write, you love to travel, so you basically go to that country and maybe live there for a couple of months, maybe even a year to understand the culture and the product itself, right? Is that it? Okay, all right. So, but if in that, so okay, I'm just curious. When doing this, is it just out of real hobby, or someone, a publishing company pays you to do that, or I mean, how does that work?
In terms of it being a business venture, we have our own publishing company now, so my wife and I also publish these books because we discovered the major publishers don't often understand drink. And so we do more for them than they do for us. The exception is my latest book, which is called Sip, 100 gin cocktails with only 3 ingredients. And I was approached by a wonderful London publisher, and they were very passionate about this subject. And they worked as hard as I did on creating this book, and as hard as my team was involved with this as well. And that book hit #1 on Amazon here in the UK for cocktails and for spirits this past Christmas. So that one has done very well, but it was my first book in a long time that was for consumers. So it was returning to the fundamentals of making drinks. And it was so enjoyable to write this and to go back and revisit all the foundations of what it takes to make great cocktails. Now that book, I wrote most of it in 45 days.
Wow, that was quick. Yeah. And well, of course, when you're doing a shoot, normally for a page, let's say you're making a business, right? So how many times do you have to shoot it until you get the perfect shot for that page?
For the pictures, this is one of the few times, and I used to work as a drink stylist for magazines. I would create the drinks for the advertisements, even for a Times Square billboard, things like that.
Nice.
And for magazine articles, and I've worked for many magazines doing this, but for Sip, I did not do them myself. And I was worried because the publisher was going to take care of that. Then I saw the first shots, and I said, "These are so beautiful.
Okay.
I want to meet the stylist." And they said, "The stylist said she knows you." And when they brought the stylist to me, she used to work for my wife and I on the island in the south of France.
No
where
wonder.
We photographed 9,000 bottles for the museum, and we did a lot of drink photography together. So it turned out I had trained her.
Nice. Wow, it's a small world. So
Yeah.
wow. Okay, so with that being said, if you can you name us your top 3 gin cocktails on a personal preference?
You just mentioned one of them.
Okay.
I do love the bee's knees, in part because I have just discovered the true history of the bee's knees, and I need to change this on Wikipedia because Wikipedia is wrong at the moment.
Okay. Which particular trivia? Which particular part of business is are you referring to?
The bee's knees, which is just the gin, honey, and lemon, shaken and strained into a cocktail glass. This drink was not from an American speakeasy during Prohibition. That's not true. It came from a women's-only bar in Paris in the 1920s. And it wasn't the bartender who invented it. It was one of the customers. And if you saw the movie Titanic,
Yes.
in Titanic, the actress Kathy Bates plays the older woman. That older woman named Molly Brown, the Titanic survivor,
Yeah.
she's the one who actually invented the bee's knees.
Ooh, okay. So for those people listening now, this is really an eye opener. So that's how it is. But I mean, how does that? Well, of course, you're Jared Brown. So basically, if a trivia like that comes up and then you try to update that, then of course it will be credible, you know. But basically, how my question would be, when do you try to dispute a certain fact, not intentionally, but because it deserves to be disputed since it's the truth, right? But do you go to a process, or do you have to ask a few people and let them check the validity of it? How does that work?
When I find an original newspaper article written by someone who was in the bar at the time and witnessed it, and they write down the recipe, then there is the proof, and it's done. So I have evidence that cannot be challenged, and at those times I simply share it with the world.
Yeah, of course. Like what I said, because everyone deserves to know the truth. But then again, I mean, sometimes whenever history is being a topic, it can't be helped that there is a probability at this very moment there are 2 people also in some part of the world doing something similar like this one, having a yeah. So how does that work now? I mean, in the same way. Go ahead.
It's always a race to find the new things.
Okay, yeah.
For example, Dave Wondrich in New York, who wrote the book Imbibe, very good book.
Yeah.
I discovered an early mention of the martini, the first mention of the martini in an 1886 newspaper, but I did not publicize it. Then Dave found it and he publicized it, so the credit goes
went to him. Yeah. Okay. So it's like a friendly banter when you say, I got you first, so
Oh yeah. But for years, he was credited with finding the earliest use of the word cocktail.
yeah, it's funny. The original, the earliest. Okay, wait. I think we're. Okay, you're good. All right. Yeah, no,
There's
but
a call coming.
okay, no worries. Yeah. So I was saying. So I read that the earliest trivia or the earliest time that the word cocktail came about, the one with the horses and the cocktail. It's a funny trivia, but yeah, it's possible. But I always, because with the word cocktail, I always fancy the one with Betsy Flanagan. Simply because of Tom Cruise playing Brian Flanagan in Cocktails, right? So, I mean, okay, I'll take that history any time of the day. But of course, if someone asks me on a deeper level and is really into it, then I would mention the one that Mr. Wondrich was actually saying, or what he discovered. Okay, so thank you. Excuse me. Let's go to Sipsmith, because I'm curious. How big is your distillery in terms of square meters?
I'm not sure exactly, to be honest.
Okay, but how many?
When we started, it was in a two-car garage.
Okay.
And there were three of us. Export was anywhere outside London. Distribution was Sam's moped. And all our first customers remember him arriving with a case of gin.
Yeah, right, yeah. That's old school, man. Yeah. Moped and the gin. Nice.
Now the office in the distillery has 70 people working in it.
Wow,
and
amazing.
We are in 60 countries now.
Okay.
So we have grown. It's a bigger garage, but it's a much bigger garage.
But
it's 8,000 square feet.
Ah, wow. Oh, so basically everything goes there in the hub. From England, everything is shipped out. So in one batch, normally around how many bottles or do you produce in one distillation?
It depends on which still we are using. We still use our original 300-liter still, and then we have two 1,500-liter stills. Now, the 1,500-liter still will produce 1,500 liters or about 2,000 bottles at 70 cl. Yeah.
700 ml.
CL.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's the size of the distillery. We are going to be expanding soon and adding more of these 1,500-liter stills because we don't want to have to change the recipe onto new stills. And we know exactly how the gin will come from these stills.
Yeah. Why change it when it's doing good? So, I'm curious. Have you been to the Philippines?
I have not been to the Philippines yet, and I would love to come and visit. I have always wanted to, but I go where they send me for work, and they have not sent me to the Philippines.
Yeah, would you know who your distributor is here? I mean, I'm not really that, because I am from a city called Marikina, so I'm basically, well, at this very moment, since there's not much traffic due to what's happening in the world now, I can travel there to the business district in 30 minutes tops. So, but if it's a regular traffic day, it will take me 2 hours to go there. So that's why literally I'm not I'm not fully aware of the distributors. Although I know a number, but would you know who distributes Sipsmith here?
It might be the same distributor for Sipsmith as for Maker's Mark whiskey.
Ah, okay. So Suntory. Okay. All right. I got it. Okay. So yeah. So shout out to Beam Suntory Philippines. So we have Jared Brown here. So if you want to bring him over, so now's the time. Now but in Southeast Asia, which other countries have you visited?
I've been to Singapore and to Cambodia.
Okay.
And
Anastasia, originally, where is she from? Because I've seen pictures of you, both of you, but she looks like me. Is she from Southeast Asia or yeah? Where is she from?
She was born in Chicago. Her father is from East London. She grew up mostly in England, but her grandfather is from northern China.
Okay.
And so she is very often mistaken for being from the Philippines. And I believe her grandfather's brother moved to the Philippines. So he has distant relatives in the Philippines.
Yeah. No, in fact, even I guested here where we were fortunate to have also Dale DeGroff. Actually, is my very first guest here in Toma Sessions, and his son actually has a Filipina wife, so that's why they went here once, but not necessarily in the city, but I think in the province where it's much peaceful and a little bit just a little bit cleaner. Although we're clean, we're trying to be clean, especially now. All of us are equal in terms of cleanliness, especially with the pandemic going on. So okay, let's go there a little bit. How did COVID did it affect the business side of Sipsmith?
Very much, because the bars in Britain have closed completely. They will reopen this weekend. This is the big day. I think in 3 days or 4 days, the bars are going to reopen, but they have been closed for months. So we have had no sales to bars, but everyone has been drinking more. So they've been going to the shops. And in the shops, we have been selling a lot of gin, but also we have dedicated some of our production to giving it to the hospitals. And they have been making hand sanitizer. I think they have made 6,000 liters of hand sanitizer with our base spirit. Yeah. Okay. No, actually today, this afternoon, I was talking to my former boss who's also British. So he was saying about the reopening of the bars. He said that's gonna be crazy. He said, "Oh my goodness, all of these gonna piss on each other and blah blah blah." I said, "Yeah, that's fun, isn't it?" I told him. No, but yeah, I mean, he was just like, of course, he was thinking because he also is like how do you call this? He does something for the cruise line. So basically, it's about. I mean, he's in the middle of this COVID situation and whatnot, and he's more aware of the spread. So he's saying, "Oh my goodness, good luck to that opening." So he's saying, but he's here in the Philippines. Okay, so let's go back again to you as a bar owner. Okay, so you did own bars as you've mentioned a while ago. Do you have any pet peeves as a bar owner? Oh, so many.
Okay, give me three.
Where to begin? First, having family who don't understand the hours.
Yeah.
The hours hours. No, I'm not going to be available at 9 in the morning, ever. No, I'm going to be asleep. Maybe I just got to sleep. And then people think, oh, having a bar, so glamorous. What do? You go and you party? No. At 2 in the morning, I'm not out with a couple of beautiful women. At 2 in the morning, I have my hand down the drain trying to pull the grease out of it.
There you go.
And the accounting and the bookkeeping and everything. From the outside, it looks so glamorous. And it must, because we create a fantasy. And the job that we do isn't about making drinks, etc. No, it's about making sure that people leave feeling better than when they came in.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is what we do. We make sure they leave feeling better than when they came in.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a good drink is a part of that, but the greeting and the thank you are even more important than making a good drink. Being the host and creating the experience for that person. And that person may want to feel like a millionaire for a day, or they may want people around them cheering for the same sports team, or they may want the perfect place to bring their wife for a quiet celebration. And all of these are different experiences that we create in hospitality. And that is truly the face of the business that also has cleaning the grease traps and doing the books
Yeah.
and doing the order.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. In fact, sometimes since I've cleaned grease traps in my lifetime, the more I'm careful with what to put in the sink. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the shift, I'm gonna meet them again, but in a more in a transformational state. You know, so that's why I don't just throw anything in my sink, since I know what it's gonna come out in the end of the shift anyway. So it's okay. But what else? What else? Do you have any other pet peeve in terms of the operation side with the bartenders that you've handled?
Oh, over the years, with the bartenders, rarely. I once had one waiter who was stealing tips, but bartenders, I love the passion that bartenders show for this great profession. And I love the thirst for knowledge that bartenders have. And I'm always happy to encourage it and to share this passion for what we do.
Nice. Okay. Now, well, I just remembered. So we talked of business only as your top 3 gin cocktail. What's your number 2?
Martini, Negroni, Gin Ricky. These are 3 more that I dearly love. The Gin Ricky I like more than a gin tonic. The gin tonic, honestly, it has too much bitter and too much sugar for me. The Gin Ricky, just gin, soda, a lime wedge. That drink is all about good gin.
Yeah.
I like gin.
Yeah. I agree 100%, because sometimes, well, now here, the gin sonic has become a kind of a fad pre-COVID, right? So it's 50-50 soda and tonic. So, but okay. At first I said, what's a sonic? Okay, soda and tonic. Okay. I thought it was the cartoon character Sonic, right? The hedgehog. So okay, let's go to our. Sorry.
The gin sonic is big in Japan as well, and I've been going to Japan a couple of times a year at minimum for about the last 5 years.
Okay. Given that thought, what brings you to, is Japan one of your bigger markets? That's why you go there.
Well, part of it is that Sipsmith is now owned by Beam Suntory.
Okay.
For I think it was 7 years, and then at 7 years we could not grow internationally, and we needed to be part of a company to extend our reach.
Yeah, the reach. Yes, I agree. That's a good decision.
And they were the perfect company for us to work with. We were so fortunate to become part of Beam Suntory.
Yeah.
But I've been spending time in Japan, studying the bar culture there, and also doing some work with them.
Yeah. No, in fact, Beam Suntory is pretty strong in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Singapore, right? Philippines also is has a pretty solid backbone when it comes to their products. Basically I love Maker's Mark and Jim Beam. Okay, wait. I think you have another
Am
call.
I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a moment.
Yeah, no worries. By the way, I forgot to ask you, did you have your lunch already? Have you finished your lunch?
I did.
Okay.
I did. We
Perfect.
actually had some prawn tempura today for lunch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you. I'm curious. What keeps you fit at living? I don't want to ask the age side, but what keeps you going? What keeps you fit and still drinking gin up until this day?
Oh, I think it's the gym.
I knew you would say that. But apart from that, do you do any sports, exercise?
We take a walk. We take a walk in the countryside every day, so we never miss it. It's only a 30-minute walk, but that helps. But also Pilates and rowing during lockdown.
Oh, okay. So you can row, huh? There.
I just have a rowing machine.
A rowing machine. Okay, I thought literally you go by the stream and row your boat.
But this time of year, to be honest, all of the gardening work and my beekeeping work, all of this is very heavy lifting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The day. Oh.
Yeah, that's pure exercise already for you. Oh, okay. So you own you have some bees also in your farm, huh? Now that's.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's
This is a very old style of beehive, but I just use this when I'm gathering a wild swarm. I will go out and collect the bees into this, and then I put them into a modern beehive.
I see. Okay, but okay. So collecting bees is what? Do you use them for something really, or when you?
I have 3 beehives around my house, and I collect the honey from these beehives. And so I make sure these bees have the best possible life. But when I make a bee's knees, I want to make a bee's knees with honey from my garden.
Wow, of course. But what's your ratio in terms of dilution for your honey?
Oh, honey syrup for making drinks, I do equal parts.
Oh, okay.
Half honey, half water, which is so important when you're making drinks with honey because you can't get it to mix at full strength.
Yeah,
so the sugar intensity is too high.
Yes.
So that's a very good point.
Yeah. Well, your ratio is interesting, and 1:1. I do that rather than putting in more water than honey, because at the end of the day it will dilute anyway once you shake it. So there is still a component of water being added to the honey. So it like balances it out eventually. Okay. What was your? Let's go to the more lighter side. Have you ever had? Let me just send him a message again. Okay, so good evening. Good evening, everyone, to Toma Sessions Live again. So, actually, the part 1 of Jared Brown was a very interesting conversation. So, he's back. He's back. Jared is back. So, let's bring him in. Shout out to King Fawn. How are you? Thank you for watching. All right, welcome back. So that's 1 hour. Yeah. So okay. With that being said, probably down to four questions for you, because I don't want to keep you, because you have it's still, what time is it now? It's 9 minus 7. It's a little after lunch, about 2 p.m. 2:30. Yeah.
Coming up on 3 p.m. here.
Okay.
You're asking the most embarrassing moment bartending,
Yeah.
and 2 came to mind immediately. A St. Patrick's Day party in New York, in a loft, maybe 100 people. It was the days of the Cosmopolitan cocktail, probably 2001. And the guests were rude and drunk and spilling, and I ran out of Cointreau. I looked around, everyone had brought green creme de menthe. So I tried making Cosmos with green creme de menthe.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was the most disgusting
I know.
I have ever made. And then I'm being a very bad bartender, showing the top of my head rather than looking up at people when they came up to get a drink. My head is down, I'm putting drinks out.
Of course. No. Oh my
The
goodness.
first one of these drinks that I put out, because I was just sliding them out, in comes this hand with a bartender ring on the pinky. And I hear this voice saying, "Oh, Jared, thanks. I haven't had a drink yet today. I really need one." It was Dale de Graaf. The first drink I served him in my entire life was the worst drink I have made in my
Your entire life.
I'm leaping over the bar. No!
Oh
He
no.
was already gone to the other end of the room, and I watched him very quietly lose the drink and got a beer.
Yeah, well, as polite as Dale is, so.
And then another time in our nightclub, I had this group of famous bartenders coming in. I was going to be doing a demonstration for them, and some journalists, and I reached under the bar just at the very beginning, and I cut my thumb very badly on something, and it went right into the ice well. And now the ice looked like a fish market at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I had to burn the ice well right in front of all of these famous bartenders.
Oh, now that I feel you. Well, the cut, yes, but not in the well. It's more of the glass. The glass shattered and it went into the well. So I had to really clean the whole thing up. Oh my goodness! And it's like our well that time was about good for 2 sacks of ice. It's that wasteful ice. Okay. My next, by the way, so for those who are joining us right now, feel free to ask questions. So we're down to our last 3 questions. So please, you're always welcome to ask. Okay, so have you ever considered doing another spirit other than gin?
Yes, I was considering making Armagnac, but my business partner Sam said, I know our name was Sipsmith Spirits, but I think we should change that to Sipsmith Gin and just focus on gin. So I stopped. Before I met them, my wife and I were making vodka in Sweden and Norway.
Oh, yeah.
And in the biggest international competition, the Beverage Testing Institute, BTI Awards, we took Best White Spirit in the World for 2002 with that spirit. We've done some work with Havana Club on the tasting panel there, doing blending work on rum. I've been playing around with a number of others. I got to do some work on Jus de out of Vietnam as well.
Oh, okay.
With the yellow blossom glutinous rice of the Red River Delta. And there I introduced charcoal filtration and refrigeration units for the liquid coming off the still to clean the harsh burnt flavors out of that spirit, to reveal the beautiful creaminess of the national spirit of Vietnam.
Okay.
At first, they thought I was insulting the spirit, and someone told me if I go over there, they are going to have you killed. And the guy who told me was my business partner on this, and I said, you know what this means? It means you have to go. And he said, oh no. But by the time he got there, they had done it, and they understood what I was doing, was just trying to find the beauty in a magnificent spirit. It was a lot of fun to work on that one.
Yeah, we have we have our own spirit. It's called Lambanog. You've probably heard of that. So it's still pretty much there's still a full potential to produce. I would say legally, more legal lambanogs, because it's like our moonshine. I mean, this is my personal opinion, the way I've seen it growing up, and normally those lambanogs are in a plastic bottle, like a 5-liter bottle. So that's pretty much moonshine for you. And but yeah, like I said, it has full potential, because I've always wondered at the fact if we can come up, although we have a premium lambanog, but I'm always impressed with like Vietnam or maybe Sri Lanka. So they have a beautiful arak over there. So hopefully here, we would try to come up with more of our local indigenous spirits, such as the lambanog. Okay, so shout out, Rebecca Sturt is here. Hi, Becky. So she's one of our guests too, also here in Toma Sessions. And then going back to the Cosmopolitan story, I was able to guest Cheryl Cook here. So the Cosmopolitan also has a very interesting history. But well, I was able to find one part of it, and that's good enough already for me to share. So just so you.
The earliest cosmopolitan cocktail recipe I found was in 1930s, and it was made with gin and raspberry and triple second lime. I was very happy to find that one.
I read that, and in fact this Cosmopolitan, based on my interview, it was for a brand, because there was a big party apparently that was being launched, and to launch that vodka brand, so Cheryl was asked to come up with something great at the time. So and then there goes Cosmopolitan, and the pink actually. It also had a history to it. There's a reason behind the pink color of the Cosmopolitan, and that is why sometimes there was a time when when the Cosmopolitan was famous, people would think, or some would think, that the color has to be cranberry-ish instead of pink-ish, no? And it's good to know the truth and well, not the main idea of how the cocktail is. So the next time I make a cocktail, for example, I'm very much aware of why it is supposed to be like this instead of. So remember, if you were using creme de menthe at the time, there was a time I made Cosmopolitan and I ran out of cranberry. I tried to use grenadine. Because that's the safest color, I could grab in my well. So
it works if you drop the triple sec.
Yeah,
you might be able to make it balance.
Yeah. Okay, so let's my next question would be, what's your take on awards? The award giving bodies, top 50 Spirit Awards. What's your take on that?
I think awards are good for giving recognition to excellence within the industry. I think it's great to see so many different awards out there, but it's still difficult for bars that aren't in certain major cities around the world. And if you're not in those cities, you're never going to get those awards. And to me, that's heartbreaking, because I think the awards, no matter how hard they try, they're not capable of recognizing how much true talent there is in this industry today and how many phenomenal bars are out there. Thankfully, I don't see the awards as really being make or break for the success of a bar by any means.
Yeah.
The success of a bar is your customers coming in night after night, your regulars. Those are the best award that you can ever win in this business.
Yeah, exactly.
Regular customers.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And then, well, obviously it's the reach. I mean, like, not everyone in London, for example, would know everyone in Southeast Asia, or specifically, for example, in the Philippines. So it's but then again, thankfully for social media, that is becoming more and more realistic, especially like right now. In fact, I don't know if I told you during our first conversation, this is one of the reasons I built this platform is due to the pandemic. Basically, in fact, my next question to you is about mental health and how, what's your take on mental health and how it affects our industry in general?
This is a very important question, and our industry has a lot of pressure in it, and certainly things like depression, anxiety, stress, these are serious issues, and they can't be addressed by having another drink. We work in dangerous surroundings. Alcoholism is always a risk, and stress, anxiety, depression, these are very often major contributing factors to causing that to come about. So I think we all have to take care of ourselves as an industry. We must take care of each other and watch for the warning signs, and also take time to be healthy. Take time to work out, to be mindful and centered. Meditation is wonderful. Yoga or Pilates. We do a lot of Pilates here, and I can't tell you how good that is. And all you need is a mat and connection to YouTube. And Pilates on Fifth. Excellent 30-minute workout. I can't recommend it enough. And also just making sure that you're eating well, that you're sleeping.
Yeah.
And if you're not, fix these first. Because the most important asset that you have in your life is your life,
Yeah.
your health. So preserve that and care for it. And you can do this in the long term.
Yeah, okay, well said, well said. The reason, actually, to go back to what I was saying, there was a time, especially when the COVID hit us, I was in that low point of uncertainty and stress also. But then again, I said, forget about it. It's time to stand up again and do something, not only for myself, but for the community to be inspired. And I said, why not put a program wherein if you guys are not busy and you have an hour or so to spare, we get to talk to you and learn something that we can take away and keep us inspired. So far you are our 16th guest, if I'm not mistaken. This is episode 16, 17. So, I've been blessed, and I said I will continue this already, regardless if whatever tomorrow brings us. As long as there's time to spend, to be able to communicate. But then again, it will be different once everything is back to normal, because at this time, I might be in a bar doing a shoot or featuring the bar, so that's how my forecast is. But as long as I'm still here, because like right now, that's one thing I lack sleep, because I just finished an intensive online training in developing a courseware through an LMS, and that's a very toxic thing to do. I finished working from 8 till 4 in the morning. So but yeah, no, I'm done. I finished it. We got our certificates, and now we're on to chapter 2, because I own a school/bar, school in the morning, bar in the evening. So it's accredited under the government, the local government. But because of the pandemic, kids are 18 and below, or 21 and below, are not allowed to go out. So the social distancing in the classes, so business is the school literally is closed. But of course, we're finding ways to reinvent our situation, and in fact sharing it in YouTube. That's why I was supposed to do our show in YouTube to have a wider reach. But I'm good, because I started really with Instagram, because this is basically one click away. This is how Instagram is, which is lovely. I like it really, but it like discovering the difference between a portrait versus a landscape, you know what I mean. So it's part of the time. So but I've talked to amazing people like yourself, and I've learned another thing today, so which leads me to we'll do one game. It's called the fast talk. Okay. The fast talk is, I'll ask you a question with two choices, so you're just gonna choose one. All right, so let's start with red or white.
Red.
Okay, so we're talking about wines here. So is there a certain red grape variety that you prefer?
Oh, Cabernet
Any?
Sauvignon.
Okay, all right. Oh wow, you like them bold and complex. Okay, with your what would you eat with?
Last night was mostly Nebbiolo. So
Okay.
going to the Barolo region.
Yeah, nice. Nice, and there's a little spice in it. Okay. Next is shaken or stirred.
Neither. Thrown. I prefer the thrown drinks. The throwing technique gives the clarity of stirring, but with more aeration than shaking.
Yes, nice. Yes. Oh, thank you. You're the first one I heard of that. Actually, I discovered also the advantages of throwing cocktails, and but it has to be done properly, also with the right.
But it's simple. It is so easy to do. I can teach anyone to throw perfectly the first time. And I've taught people who never held a cocktail shaker before. And so we'll save this for another time, but I'm happy to do a teaching session for throwing.
Oh, okay. You heard it. Yeah. Well, I will throw with you. I will prepare. Well, the next time if we reschedule, I'm gonna have myself a Sip Smith already. So, that would be great. Oh, by the way, belated Happy World Gin Day to you. Okay.
Thank you.
So it was we celebrate this year quite often every year. So that's one way now that we are at one with the world in terms of the beverage and the bartending scene. Okay, so after that, so red and white. Next, shaken and stirred. Next is plain or bus.
Plain or bus?
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Plain.
Plain. So you like to travel. Well, okay. Why plain than bus?
I've always liked to fly. I was co-piloting a single-engine plane when I was about 11 years old, and I've done a little bit of bush pilot work in the American West, flying in and out of very hidden runways in the backwoods. On a cattle ranch, I would fly the plane so the ranch owner could look for lost cows out on the range on the largest ranch in Nevada. So for me, flying is a feeling of freedom and joy. Plus, I love when I can get behind a bar on a plane. And on the Paris to Tokyo flight on Virgin a few years ago, they let me get back and throw drinks.
Okay. It seems to me you had a very exciting and wonderful childhood at 10 years old. I mean, you've did a lot as early as 10, it's a revelation. I mean, that's something new. You flew up, well, you co-piloted flying a plane. You had a friend who distilled, you made the cider, and wow. Sometimes it pays to be the first in this world. You get to do things,
It was a strange childhood. Playing soccer when I was a child, there was one game where anybody could come and play, so there was adults as well. And I was in goal. The other's team had a visitor from Brazil, Pele. I can tell you,
okay.
Don't want to be in goal against Pele when you're 10 years old. That did not go well. He picked me up off the ground after he kicked me to the back of the net with the ball.
But were you that tall already? What's your height? It seems to me you're pretty tall. Are you six feet?
Yeah.
Okay, but at that time
No,
you
I'm
weren't.
short.
No, because because I've seen you. You're a very tall. You're a very tall guy, and
No, I was a little kid. I was very small for my age.
okay.
It was funny because I think I was 11 the first time I walked into a bar and I got served a drink. And I was small for my age, but I had asked to see the wine list. And I was reading down the wine list. I looked at the bartender and I said, "This is a very good list. Who wrote it?" And he said, "Oh, I did." And I complimented him on a couple of listings, but I said, "Oh, but this one here, you got the grape variety wrong." And he's looking at this little kid. And, "Wait, what? No, that's correct." I said, "No, go look it up." And he did, and he came back. He's like, "Oh, you're right, I got that wrong." And I said, "Oh, forget it. Just give me a White Russian." And by then, I think he thought I was a midget.
Okay, my next fast talk is sedan or SUV.
Oh, sedan.
Okay. But how is that possible? What kind of sedan do you drive?
Actually, I drive an MX-5.
Okay. So that fits you perfectly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, but it's long, right? Your leg room is okay.
Yeah, the legroom is long, and if I were 2 inches taller, I could not fit in this car. But it is the closest car that I could find to the feel of driving the single-seat race cars.
Actually,
I drive the single-seat race cars on the track that is near the house.
okay.
My wife and I go over and we do a few days of race driving every year.
Oh wow! You live the life to the fullest. Yeah, no, it's really cool. Oh, by the way, do you have a horse there in your farm?
A horse? Not these days. I worked briefly as a cowboy in the American West. So I've ridden a lot in my life. My neighbors all have horses. In fact, you might not have heard it, but about 6 horses went by outside the door a few minutes ago while we were talking.
Oh, see? Because it just popped out of my head. You might have a horse because you have a farm back there, and yeah. Okay, so maybe my last question: what bottles do you have there at your back? Do you mind showing us those lovelies? What I see a Kahlua there.
It's very random because I have never brought the camera into my cellar before. But the Sayativa Preciosa, I think this is a 20 or 25-year-old cachaça. Very old. There's some port, some coffee liqueur, there's Fernet. This is an interesting one. This is Yomishu from Japan. And during Prohibition in the United States, you could still buy Campari because it was sold in the pharmacy. And Americans didn't believe anyone would drink Campari for pleasure. They thought that was only medicine. Well, today, you go to Japan, and Yomiishu, which tastes a bit like a mix of Campari and vermouth, is only available in the pharmacy. But I've been using this to make Negronis, and it's beautiful. But first I had to learn to say in the pharmacy, sumimasen, Yomiishu kurasai, to be able to buy
to buy that.
The Japanese pharmacist looks at me like, wait, you're not an 80-year-old Japanese person. That's the only people who buy this stuff. So I love this one.
Where in Japan did you buy that? Apparently, I have a ticket going to Japan on September, but I don't think that's gonna push through anymore with the way things are going. But where in Japan did you buy? Which city?
Oh, you can buy it in every city in Japan, in almost every pharmacy.
Okay, okay.
They all sell this stuff.
Okay, I'll probably, well, I'll take a shot of that, a photo of that, and I'm gonna ask around if they can, maybe ship one over once this is done.
If you've recorded this, then you've got the Japanese phrase for how to order it.
Well, I know kudasai. I know because I've been watching a lot of anime, so I'm quite familiar.
Which is,
sumimasen.
Please.
Yeah.
And then just yomishu, and then kudasai.
And then oishi, arigatou gozaimasu, and then
very good.
kawaii.
Another one that I've
lovely. The Luxardo.
The cherry is so good.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, Luxardo has a way with their products. Even the amaretto of Luxardo is also good.
And then this, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, batch 001. This is the first distillation of Sipsmith 11 years ago.
Ooh.
And I don't have a whole bottle of it. I only have the laboratory bottle. But that goes back 11 years right there.
Wow, that's already an artifact.
And then I have a little bottle of Plymouth.
Okay, by the way, since
a little cocktail shaker to go with it.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Does it open? Does your shaker open?
Oh, this is a real shaker, yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, nice. Wow.
I have used this a bunch of times.
Good for one shot.
That's good when I have to serve the person who's going to be driving me home.
Nice.
Just that, no more.
Yeah, of course. Being responsible drinking and serving.
Oh, I forgot I had this. I think
yes.
The Calabrese shaker.
The Calabrese, yes. Salvatore's shaker, yes. Yeah.
He makes a good shaker, I have to say.
Hey, I remember the first few times we communicated, you said you hosted a party for Peter Dorelli during his birthday.
Dorelli's 80th birthday recently.
Yeah.
And because of COVID and the lockdown, the way that we could get all his friends and family together was on Zoom. And everybody was instructed to make Negronis, and everybody appeared with Negronis, and it was a lot of fun.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, I haven't also met Mr. Dorelli yet. So, but knowing that at his age is still alive and kicking, that is like the epitome of of being a bartender.
I'm getting too old to go drinking with him. He's trouble. One day, he and I and a London journalist got together, 9 on a Sunday morning. We were filming for this journalist's TV series. Then Peter and I went on drinking, and the journalist woke up with a broken ankle from a pogo stick accident. I woke up with 2 broken ribs from falling down a staircase, and Peter, he woke up in Brighton, which is down by the sea, about an hour and a half south of London. So from now on, we behave and we drink responsibly. I don't want to repeat that episode.
Yeah, no, but Well, I'll leave that for another topic if I could get to Peter. But he's really very fit. Also, just like you. I mean, you guys know how to take care of your bodies, which is actually, it doesn't. I mean, I included. It's always a struggle to maintain a fit body, especially with our job, and the stress that comes with it. I mean, I think mental health has something to do with it, being mindful and whatnot. But you guys are, you're still alive and kicking and pretty healthy. As it seems, so it's good. It's an inspiration. In fact, those who will be watching this, it's normally, if you're a bartender, the stereotype is the belly and how do you call it, the rugged face, due to maybe how do you call it, bouts with alcohol, and that's why you age quickly. So, but it's good now. Meeting a lot of bartenders also that they're really into health and wellness and fitness. So it's good to find that kind of inspiration from other bartenders outside of our country, and maybe share it here and apply it. Normally here we play sports, so soccer, basketball, but I mean for that kind of fitness, like let's say I remember you probably know Ian Bell. So yeah, he does this 10-day detox workout, right? He hosts that one, and they go to Thailand. David Cordova was telling me about it, so that's something interesting. Okay, so well, Jared, it's an honor to have you, and I think that's our fast talk. I would like to ask you for your last words of inspiration to our viewers.
My last words of inspiration come from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, author of The Little Prince, who said, "Perfection is achieved not when there's nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Perfection is achieved not when there's nothing more to add, but when there's nothing left to take away." Find the heart and soul in whatever you do. If it is a bar, a menu, a drink, and highlight the best element in it rather than hiding it behind a load of other elements. This is a quote that drives me in everything that I do.
Perfect. No, I couldn't agree more. So with that, again, Jared, thank you very much for spending time with us and sharing, well, your home, your history, and your experiences with our audience. It means a lot, and I'll never look at Sipsmith the same way again after talking to you. Actually, I'm in my studio. I'm at my home bar, so I need to have, as you can see here, these are my stash. I have a local brandy there. It's Emperador, and I have like I said, I have a Jim Beam over here. So soon, not maybe tomorrow, I'm gonna talk with somebody from the Suntory and have myself one right away. And I learned a lot personally in regards to Anastasia. I wish you guys all the best. Hopefully, if we can't have you here, we'll meet somewhere. I was talking to Caroline, and I've always dreamed and part of my bucket list is being able to go to Tales before before I leave this earth, so to speak. And yeah, hopefully we can share a bee's knees or two, when we meet. Okay? So
Alright.
with that, sir, thank you very much again. So this has been Richie Cruz of Toma Sessions with our guest, Jared Brown of Sipsmith. Okay? So enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cheerio. Oh, by the way, Jared, one more. Last thing. I'm gonna teach you a final three words. That means it's like cheers when we had too much to drink. It's called, listen to me, okay? Tagay,
Tagay,
hanggang, mamatay.
mamatay.
Yeah, again, tagay,
hanggang,
mamatay. That means drink till we die. No, but that's literal. But figuratively, it just means I'll die bartending, basically, because the passion is still there. I mean, you're one of the proof that you've been in the beverage industry for so long, and probably till the last whiff, you still be in the beverage industry. And hats off to you. And that's where that phrase came from. All right. So tagay hanggang mamatay. All right. Again, can you say that for our audience?
Tagay, hanggang, mamatay.
Very good. All right. Thank you. So with that, Jared, have a nice day. Good night and enjoy your day.
So much.
Ta-ta.
Richie, great stuff. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It was a beautiful session with Jared Brown. I learned a lot. I hope you did too. And yeah, you can catch the second part of our Toma sessions here in IGTV. We'll try to stream it in YouTube. Our YouTube session, our YouTube page or channel is Toma Sessions. So please don't forget to subscribe. Again, YouTube. Go to Toma Sessions, and we're building content there with regards to bartending and everything else. Okay, so this has been Richie Cruz. We'll see you next week. Just stand by, whether it's gonna be in Instagram or in YouTube. But we're gonna have another special guest this time. Well, I'm not gonna tell you yet, but it's gonna be another epic episode. Okay, so with that, guys. Good night and tagay hanggang mamatay.